Chapter 8, we're going to carry on with this telephone book program, and we're at the point where we loaded up this object right here, and we're going to go through and we're going to pull it apart. Now, if we take a look at this file closer here, this is the file that is in memory, and the first thing it's going to do, it's going to read in the entire line. So it's going to read in this line and then drop to the new line down here, so the pointer's here, and then it's going to split up that highlight right there using the tokenized array, this delimited array. So it's going to look for the space here, which is spaces right there, and it's going to look for the comma, with commas right here, and then it's going to look for the hyphen, which is right there. It's going to break that up and tokenize it into a string right here. So once we've done that once, it drops down and it loads up the entry with that particular record. So the first name is tokenized right here called Katie, and then the last name is tokenized as Alan, and then 555 is the first part, phone 3, and then phone 4 is 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can see here that when we tokenize it, we put it into an array of strings, and we've broken up each and every part right there. Once we've done that, we can now take our phone list and we can now add the entry. So the entry is right here, which encompasses all 4 of these pieces. So when we run it, we're actually getting let's see here. Sorry, that puts it into the list right here. That's the phone list entry. So we created a list array here called the phone list that we're going to add it to. Okay, let me just organize this a little better. All right, so that's maybe a bit confusing, so let's go through it again one more time. Before we even read this file, we did create a list up here called the phone list, and this is going to be able to store all of the data that's inside of the phone list. And when we store in the phone list, we're going to pull it apart and we're tokenizing it. So we're going through it line by line, and we're going to take that line, we're going to tokenize it by using the delimited characters. There's 3 limited characters, and we're going to put it into each of those tokens within this token string array here as part of the entry. And then once we've done that entry, we're going to add the entry back into this list. And the reason we do that is that when it goes into the list, it's pulled apart into different pieces. And then once it's in the list in different pieces, we can actually pick and choose what we want. And you can see that here in the output. You can see what's coming is it says Katie Allen, but in the output I put Alan Katie. I reversed those 2 because we've actually pulled it apart. We've pulled apart the actual text file. We put it into a list control up here, and then later in the list control we can pull apart and output exactly what we want. And that's really what we're doing here. And this might take a little bit of time. You might want to sit there and do a debug on this process to look at it step by step. All right, once we've finished this loop and we've read through the entire file, we're going to return back and we're going to display the names. Now, displaying the names, this modular right here is simply going to go through our list. Now that we've got it put into the list in all those different pieces, what we're going to do is we've got the entry name, last name. I'm going to put that one first, and then I'm going to put in a space. I'm going to put the first name. So what that does when we output from the list to the control right here is we put the last name, which is Alan, and then we put the first name, which is Kate. All right, and add that to the list, and it'll loop through the entire collection right here, the list collection, until all the information is displayed out into that list box. And that's basically what happens at the time of the form load. So all this happens during this part here called form load. So we don't even see this occurring when we first run the program. It just occurs, and it sets it up so that we can start the next process, which is this one here called, when we click on change the index, what are we actually doing? So let's take a look at that in the next video.